Let's get going. Trey Bell, how are you? You're muted.
Yeah, man, I'm doing great. I'm doing
So
great.
selling real estate and technology skills. I'm kidding. I love you, man. How are you?
Man, I'm doing great. It's Friday. We made it, and
Yeah.
been
I
getting
know I
ready.
had to pull you off the golf course on a Friday, but I appreciate it more than you know.
Yeah, don't tell all my secrets.
I understand. Okay. So here's the deal. We've got an hour. I want to peel the layers back on the onion, understand how you became who you are today. I want to learn from your trials and tribulations and all your wisdom, my friend. But before we dive into it, and before I even kind of introduce, I like to ask the toughest question I'm going to ask you today first, which is if you were going to give us a looking glass into Trey Bell, I want to know what the theme song of your life would be.
Yeah, you're right. This is the toughest question. You sent me
I
your
understand.
questions, and I read them, and I kept getting hung up on the first one. And so I spent some time this morning, honestly, thinking about this. And I wanted it to be something cool, like, I'm a huge Garth Brooks fan. I was like, maybe something from the Allman Brothers or just something cool, and no, I couldn't nail anything down. I kept coming back to this one song. So there's this one song. It's kind of a mushy moment. It's by Dave Barnes. It's called Good. And it's a song about it's a song just about everything that I've got, right? And there's a couple lines in there where it talks about how I've got more than I ever thought I would, how our past, our mistakes, the heartbreaks, the things we have in the past kind of take us to where we are today, and that every day is a gift. And it talks a lot about family. And I guess if I had to sum up a theme song for me about my life, that would be it. That's kind of maybe lamish, but
No, it's great.
And I encourage you all to listen to it. It'll make you think about what you got going on and your family and your kids and everything that matters, right?
There you go. So one more time, who sings it?
Dave Barnes.
Dave Barnes, and it's called
Good.
Good. I'll go find it.
Listen
All
to
right,
it
Trey
today.
Bell. So I know who you are, and we've had a relationship for a number of years, but I can tell you there's quite a few people that are going to watch this, whether it's on our YouTube or live stream throughout all our offices. They don't know who Trey Bell is. And as much as I'd love to give you this eloquent introduction, I think it's probably best you introduce yourself so we understand directly from your mouth who you are.
Yeah. How far do you want me to go back?
I mean, let's start with who you are today, and then we'll go back.
Yeah,
who are you today?
Yeah, so I think most importantly, I'm a husband and a father. I'm married to a wife. An Alabama girl, went to Auburn. We have two beautiful kids together. We live in a small town in North Georgia called Flowery Branch. I'm the youngest son of three kids. I got great parents. I've just been blessed with family. We spend a lot of time with family outside of work. I'm a competitor. I'm a golfer. I'm not that good, but I like to play golf and compete. I'm a DI, so I'm a high D, and I do have a lot of I too. I enjoy spending time with people. I enjoy doing all those things, but I'm not the super high I. I don't always need to be around people. I would draw back to my family a good bit, and my kids are young, so you know how young kids are, 3 and 1. We plan our weekends around them, nap times and things like that. Time I get to spend with them. I run a couple companies, so I have a sales team, the Bell team, which is what we're talking about. Going to spend some time talking about today. We're 9 sales agents, a great support team of 5 people in the back office. Me, my mom and I started this business together back in 2014. She's our founder, right? Is what the title we give her, and she does whatever she wants to do. So she's not really.
She earned that.
Yeah, she's not present in the business. every day, but she's a huge part of our DNA. And, I think when we drill down, who do we want to be, especially on the sales side of things, like who do we want to be, who do we want to represent? She's like the model for that, right? And cares about people, big heart, a giver, bends over backwards, service oriented, like all those things, gritty, all of those things are who we want to become. So she's an important piece of this business, even though she's not in it every day. I'm an operator for a market center like Brett. I have one market center that I get the pleasure to lead and operate. It's on the east side of Atlanta Metro East. We go from basically the perimeter on 20 around Decatur. So we start in Rockdale County and we go all the way out to Lake Oconee. So we serve a very diverse area from urban out to kind of the suburbs, out to a destination luxury area. And it's a very it's a unique territory. It's a unique territory, and we get to experience the high end of Lake Oconee, which is now $7, $8, $9 million. And then we're also in some urban areas and some areas that are getting rebuilt back. And so it's been a great opportunity for me to do that for the last 2 or 3 years, and a great learning experience for me too, owning multiple businesses that aren't necessarily where you are. And really having to learn and relearn the value of not just people, but what it means to have great people in your world, that where you're aligned, the way you think, the way you act, the way you treat people, all those things. And then professionally, I'm a builder. So we do some developing. Actually, my brother and I we just finished a little townhome project in Gainesville. We probably develop 5 to 8 projects a year, small projects. This was 6 townhouses. But that gives me energy to do that. It's something different and I'm passionate about it. It's, when you're in business, you work, and you do see the results, but a lot of times they're not like physically in front of you. What I love about building and developing is as you go through the project, you can actually see what you've done. Like you can physically see a building raised or a house being built or whatever it is. And for me, that's like something different than all the other stuff that we do. And it gives me a lot of energy to do that.
Perfect. So I heard you say 2014 is kind of when this whole thing started, right? So 7 years in the journey of you joining Mom, taking the Bell team to where it is today. So take me to today for a minute, and then we'll go backwards. So where is the Bell team today? And I'm going to ask you to give me some numbers, and I know that's not the most humbling experience, but what are you proud of what you and your team are accomplishing right now?
Yeah, so I'll just tell you where we're at today. We're roughly at about 180 units for about 62 million. $1.7 million in GCI. I think we're going to cross the $2 million mark this year. And I think that the most important thing about our team one of the things I'm most proud of is that and growing pains are tough, right? They're tough. You people come in and out of your business. You move people in and out of your company. People leave you. It's tough. So what I'm most proud of today is that we've got a group of people on the agent staff, and we call them agent partners, and within our operations team. And we're all aligned, right? We all care about the same things. Our culture is stronger today than it's ever been. We've gone through these highs and lows of building culture, and culture is like a thing that people talk about. And I don't think you understand culture until you have bad culture, and like you can feel it and see what it can do and how it can bottom out a company and we kind of went through that in 2018 when I became an operator. honestly, I didn't know what I was getting into. And I stepped out of the business. Rhonda and I at the same time, my mom's dad had dementia in 2018, and he was getting sick, and I bought a market center in November. And so we were listing like crazy. Her and I were the listing agents, and we were banging out 20 listings a month, like just working at a super high level. We had a couple buyers agents, and then all of a sudden the water faucet just turned off, right? And we had to promote people within our company, but it wasn't us, and we hadn't created systems. We didn't prepare the business in a way that needed to be prepared. And so when we stepped out to do other things, honestly, the culture wasn't there. The business was built around her and I. It wasn't built around a system and a process and what are our values and what's our mission and what do we care about and who do we want to invite into it. And so because of that, we imploded, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But just, I guess, getting back to your question, the thing I'm most proud of is the culture inside of our company and who I get to work with. But there were times when I dreaded coming into the office because it was funky in the office. There was like things going on between me and other people, and I was passive aggressive because I was cornered. I couldn't make decisions that I wanted to make because we didn't have enough people or the right people. And so now I love coming and seeing the people that I work with every day. I mean, and it's not always roses and rainbows, but the people that I work with, when there is disagreement or when there is challenging conversations, because we're aligned, and I think because there's mutual respect and mutual understanding, we're able to work through that stuff. And honestly, it makes work a lot more fun.
Perfect. All right. So take me back. If today you're going to break 2 million in GCI, what did 2014 look like? Mom was in the business. You got into the business. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah. So I graduated college in the downturn. So 2009, I'm a construction management major. Real estate development is my major. That's what I've always been passionate about. That's what my family did. I'd be the fourth generation in a construction company right now if I chose to do that. But I watched my grandfather develop industrial property specifically. And really, that's the top of the food chain, in the real estate world, or what I thought it was. And so that's what I wanted to do. And so I graduated in a really a bad time for construction and got on with a national general contractor and built banks, Wells Fargo's for a little bit. And then I started developing real estate. Actually, I got my dream job when I was about 26 years old or 27 years old. And I went to work for two guys. They were developers. They were starting a company. They were national. They had a brokerage company and represented these national companies, accredited companies all over the United States. And so we ended up developing single tenant, triple net real estate deals, Verizon's and the dollar stores and Aspen Dentals and some strip centers. And like I wrote a college thesis, like my last senior, and it's like, I want to go to work for a small developer. They put your arm around you, teach you what to do. And like, I did it. And as I did that, I was living in Atlanta and then Buckhead, and I was traveling all the time, and I was really working with some guys. It goes back to culture. And the more I got into business deals with them, and as I kind of grew with them, I realized that we weren't aligned in a lot of different areas, and got into a really bad deal out in Texas, in east of Dallas, and put the wrong size gutter on a building, and rain poured in, and Dollar Tree was the anchor, and they're screaming, and it kind of rolled downhill to me, and I just got cussed up and down like never before. And I just realized in that moment, it's like, this isn't where I'm supposed to be. So in 2014, I called my mom, I called my brother. I'm like, I got to find something else. And so I worked with my brother a little bit as a builder, and I worked with my mom as a little bit on real estate. And I really just found a passion for real estate. And honestly, Keller Williams was something that it was inspiring, right? I was into self-development, self-leadership, those type of things. And really my first mega camp, it was like the summer of 14 when I started with my mom, and the first mega camp, just going and hearing Gary Keller speak and going to all those classes and them developing the person, I just got sucked in and drawn into that. So she was doing about anywhere between $5 and $7 million a year. which where we lived at that time, it was about 30 or 40 transactions a year. When I started, our average price point was like 155. And I saw her go through these highs and lows. And I remember being growing up, she got into real estate when I was in high school, and I would watch her go through these highs and lows like I'd see all real estate people do. Even on our team, sometimes it's they don't have any work, and then they go get all this work, and then everybody needs them, and then it's like they're too busy, they can't even enjoy the money they're doing, and so they service all the work, and then they look up and get it all closed and make all this money, and then they don't have anything else to do, right? And so I watched her do this, and I'm like, Mom, I will never do what you do. That's what I told her when I was in college. And then when I came to work with her, we didn't have a database. She was doing $5 to $7 million a year, just pure grit and muscle working.
So I think that's interesting, because you can succeed at some level without a database, and here your mom proved that, right?
Yes, she did. Her lead generation was going to the grocery store and going to the high school football game, and I mean, just knowing people in the community. And she's the sweetest person on earth, so people just love her, and they trusted her, and they gave her business. And but there was no way to, as I got into it, there was no way to scale that. There was no way to grow that. There was no way to even know what we needed to do. And of course, I dove into the MREA and just kind of took it verbatim. Like, that's what I did. I took it verbatim. I read the 4 models. And so within the first year, we'd gone through 2 or 3 assistants, because it was probably me that was hard to work for. We were so disorganized. I had a ego, and I wanted to do this and do that. And
hang on, unpack that.
What do you mean?
So you were hard to work for, came to the table with an ego. Looking back, I mean, I think everybody has a little bit of that. We're all little control freaks. We all come to the table with a little ego sometimes. How did you recognize that was actually getting in your way?
Yeah, I think it's through heartache, right? And through, I mean, every time you have to hire and replace somebody, it sets you back, right? And sometimes it's a good setback, so you can rebuild it the right way. But we would build momentum with whoever we had. And I want this, this, and this, and that, and just do it. I'm a high D, I'm focused, I'm lead generating. I'm like, just get this for me. And I'm not yelling at them, but I'm talking so directly that people I would just hurt their feelings. And we were hiring friends' daughters and people that just to kind of help. And we didn't know anything about hiring. But yeah, I had an ego. Jason Bonds, I tell this story to people that I'm close with, and I'll share it with you now. But Jason Bonds,
So this is going out to the world.
Yeah, but he's an operator that inside of Atlanta Partners, and I met him at the first mega camp I went to. And after he met me, he told me this story 3 or 4 years ago. He said, yeah, when I first met you, I thought you were never going to make it in this industry, because your head was this big, it would barely fit through the door. And so I think that's part of the growth journey. I mean, it's realizing some self-awareness, and I think as you start to evaluate yourself and to dive into books and get coaching from mentors, or being around people that have big worlds, they're not about themselves. I mean, I guess some of them are, but the majority of them are not about themselves. And so through heartache and self-discovery, and people challenging and pushing me to go take this class, or honestly having the opportunity, people seeing something in me and being willing to give me their time and stuff, helped me develop as a person. And Craig Rochelle always says, he says, as the leaders grow, the things around them grow, or something to that extent. And I've seen that proven true in my life over and over and over again. I can't grow past my own self. The things I'm involved in can't grow past my own self. And I've realized that
you're
early on. Yeah, I'm the lid. And so anyway, that was our story. We got started there, and then we ended up finding Melissa with about a year into our journey. and she's still with me today. She built our first database with an Excel spreadsheet. We were in KW eEdge at that point, right? We were doing some stuff through eEdge, and that's how we did our 36 touch, and we had our database in an Excel spreadsheet. It was super clunky, but I'm looking at my multi-year trends. I can remember it. Our first year, we did 13 million together the first year. So we had this huge jump our first year. And
That was
then
2015, right?
that was 2015. I'm looking at something right now. And then we jumped to 27 million, like another big double year. And that year we developed our systems in a better way. And
Hang on. I'm getting this down. So basically 5 to 7 million in 2014. You went to what in 2015?
we went to 13 million.
Okay, and then 27.
And then 27. No, in 14, we went to 13 million, just her and I.
Okay,
And then we went to 27 the next year, 35 the next year. And our third full year together, we jumped to 55 million. So
and
that's
that was 2017.
That was 2017. And that's when we became MREA status, so it took us really 3.5 years to do that. And it was me and her and one main buyer's agent who could handle 40 to 50 deals a year. And it was Melissa doing basically, we had 2 admin at the time. And then we were kind of cycling through buyer's agents because we didn't understand hiring, right? And so like that was our next opportunity to move from E to P, is with hiring and the people that you bring into your world.
Yeah. And like Adam Hergenrother, I had interviewed him on an earlier series, and he wrote a book called The Force Multiplier. And it was really about that person that you partnered with that became that force multiplier that takes your business to other levels. And Melissa was really that for you, right?
Yeah,
And
she was, and she had ran a national Mary Kay salesperson's business. Like she was more of like her executive assistant, did everything for her. But she was highly talented, and to our benefit, that the lady that she worked for didn't realize that, I don't think. And so she came into our world, and we had a playbook, right? We had the MREA, and even though we felt lost all the time, and sometimes still do, we would honestly go back to that book and just do what the book said, right? Just do what the book said. Or the sharing culture of Keller Williams was go talk to somebody, pick up the phone that's doing double or twice or wherever you want to be, ask them what they're doing. And we just did it, and blindly, and continue to ask and continue to seek information. We got involved in MAPS coaching, which was beneficial for us, just to challenge the way we thought. And then the things that the Market Center did for us, bringing in training, teaching, pushing us to other events. So just the whole model of KW, like I've experienced it, right? I've experienced it, and honestly, it's changed my world.
yeah. Okay, so I just want to fill in the gaps so we have all the data, if you don't mind. So you did 55 million in 2017. What did you do in 18, 19, and 20?
I'm just going to read it to you because I think I'm a year off. Let's see. Contracts closed. Volume. Okay. So this goes back to 17. 32 million in 17. It was 18 that we did 55 million. 19, we shrunk back to 47.5. Last year we rebuilt and we ended up at 56.5. And then this year we're going to end somewhere between 78 and 82 or 83 million.
Call it 80 million.
Yep.
Okay, so it looks like you hit a ceiling at around 50 million in real estate that you had to plow through, and you just plowed through that this year. Am I reading that right?
Yeah, you are, volume wise. Just to be honest, we're in the middle of breaking this unit ceiling. It's a unit thing to me. I'm real cautious right now about getting too high on the volume that we're doing, even though the GCI feels good and it's nice to thump your chest about. Units is the strength of a salesperson, in my opinion.
Okay.
And we're banging our heads on this 200 to 230 units. And we're breaking through that now. We can talk more about that as we get to leads and listings, but we're still kind of there. But the thing that's important about 18 and 19 is in 18, Rhonda and I, as the rainmakers, the partnership, we were driving the business. We were creating listings. We were the listing agents. In 19 is basically when we had to rebuild the business. Rhonda was gone. I was an operator. I had to spend time there because I made some mistakes there, and I had to rebuild things there. And I was gone, and we had to lead through people, right? We had to hire listing agents because the listings are what fuel the company, and we had to hire listing agents to go and to lead through others. And so 19 was us kind of struggling through that. We had people leave us. Our whole team basically cycled over. And in 2020 is the rebuild. So we rebuilt the business in 2020. And that's all been an evolution of, hey, what are our systems? How do we hire good people? How do we motivate and train them? And we're trying to improve there. How do we create incoming leads? How do we feed the people that we have? And basically we rebuilt if you want to talk MREA, I'm kind of in the 6th level. We rebuilt the MREA team without the rainmaker driving the majority of the business. And so it feels like we're at a ceiling and we're stuck, and we are with units, but we've replaced some people. We've replaced myself and even Rhonda inside of the company. So in reality, we're growing. It's just not showing up yet.
Got it. I hear you. So I'm hearing some nuggets that I want to kind of pull out a little bit. One is you found a force multiplier. We talked about that with Melissa, right? 2, you're very focused on systems, and you're focused on the model, right? You're a model and system guy, and you're very purposeful about that. Am I reading that right?
Yeah, I think I can handle a lot. Like you talk about the lid. So, and I think a lot of agents, successful agents, are this way. They've got a high threshold for getting stuff done. I can get stuff done. And every step in this journey, or every ceiling that we hit, it's me getting out of the way and saying, I just can't rely on myself to get stuff done. I've either got to leverage in people or create a new model and system. And that's what takes you to the next level. And so I'm big on models and systems because I've seen them work inside of my company. And really it's the only way to continue to grow.
Got it. So how do you know, and this is a multifaceted question here, how do you know you've exhausted where you do business before you leave the imaginary 4 walls of your city to go into expansion? How do you know you're ready for that? Because I know part of our conversation, you're about to start expanding your business, right? Or you already started and you're working that direction. But how do you know you've found, they say, found all the diamonds underneath your feet first?
Yeah, I think that's a fault. I don't think that's true. I think you can always go deeper if you choose to go deeper. I think we're going to continue to mine and to improve our 36 touch to grab more market share where we're at today. But I do think it's the ceiling that we're at potentially, right? There comes to a with with all the agents, and we're in a fortunate place, like a lot of the areas that you guys work in, where there is massive growth, and we're fortunate to be in a place where that's going on. But so, I don't really know how to answer that question. It's more of, hey, I'm looking at the numbers, I'm looking at what we're doing. We're getting 60 to 70% a year out of our sphere and agent sphere. So like we're hitting the metric, and so we want to go wide now and spread our net wider in order to have the growth that we're looking for. So I don't really know how to answer that question, Brett.
I'm not looking for a right or wrong answer. I'm looking for how you think about it.
Yeah, so Hall County, Jackson County, Gwinnett County is our main service areas for where we are right now, and there is a lot of real estate agents here, and market share for us is it's competitive, and I think that what we can do is take what we've done here with our team, and we can go out, and it's going to be much easier. Well, not much easier. It's going to be much quicker to partner with an agent and use our playbook and get that partner to 15 to 20 million versus us going to 100 or 300, 400, 500 contracts in these 3 counties in which we serve regularly, right? And so it's a calculated decision that we're making. We look at cost benefit analysis. How can we get the most out of a dollar or whatever? And that's how we've made the determination that we need to spread a wider net, and we're going to work on the fill-ins between these places that we're spreading to, and that's how we're going to grow our hub business.
Got it. So actually, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but isn't that Melissa's one thing?
Yeah. So as you build a company, you know, you hear people say you have to create opportunities for people, and people who prove that they're ready for one. And so honestly, that was a challenge for me, how to do that. She was so pivotal in our sales business and helped us get to the places that we wanted to get to. And she wanted an opportunity for herself and her family, to have a bigger world, right? And so so we have, I guess you want to say, promoted her within our company. We've given her opportunity, and now she is actually she's leading expansion for us, meaning building the models and systems, because that's what she's good at. She started the chapter at Keller Williams Young Professionals in started the Atlanta chapter. And when she did that, I just kind of sat back and watched, and was really impressed with the way that she recruited and the way she built that. And I'm looking at her in our director of ops role, which is a vitally important role inside of a sales team. And I'm thinking, I think that she can do something more. And I think she wanted to do something more too. And so we promoted her to go out and to carry our flag and to create a bigger brand and expand our footprint. And she is leading the charge on that right now for us.
Got it. So
let me just go back and tell you though, Brett, we've tried expansion 4 times.
Okay.
We tried expansion 4 times with me doing what she's doing. So here was the breakdown. I am a models and systems guy. I believe they're important, but I'm not good at building them. Number one, right? I'm good at saying, I know we need this. This is how yeah, this is how I think it should go, but I can't get it done. Right? She can execute. So number one, I was leading expansion. I'm getting pulled to the market center. I'm building. I'm leading the team. At that point, I was leading the sales team too, and I couldn't be all the things to all the people that I needed to be. We went to Athens. We went to Alpharetta. I went to Boston, Massachusetts. I had a girl, a lady that worked with me. We loved her. Her husband got relocated to Boston, and she's like, I don't know. I want to do real estate up here, but I don't want to work with anybody. I want to work with you. So, you know, me and
let's go.
Right. Yeah. And so we went to Boston, and actually we broke even. We did better in Boston than we did anywhere else. In a year, we broke even. It didn't cost us money, and she made a little money, and she would just got lonely up there basically, because it was before I had my first kid. I was flying up there every other week. My wife was pregnant, so I'd leave at 4 a.m, get on a plane, work with her all day, and then leave at 7 or 8 at night and get home around midnight. And I did that for 6 months and ended up just folding. But what I'm getting to is I realized in that is that I couldn't do it. It couldn't be me, because I couldn't leave the other stuff I was in to solely focus on this. So I needed to hire someone, a talented someone.
So let's unpack that for a minute, because I think this is a big thing. At some point in everybody's journey, our Superman cape, right, or your Superwoman cape, it runs out. There's only so much you can do, right?
Right.
And or we all try, and then families break down, or time just becomes an issue, right? Or health or whatever. And you realize in your journey that we need people, and we got to build an organization, and the two skill sets that really develop that whole conversation is leadership ability and coaching, right? Like, can I lead a group of people, and can I teach people to do what I do? And all that being said, it's a journey, not an event, right? Like you've made mention, you kind of screwed that up a couple times along the way, and we grow and all the above. But I want to throw the word talent at you. And how do you think of the word talent? What do you look for in people? And I know there's a whole nother half of this conversation, which is the word culture, which says it's important to have a great culture inside your organization. So that probably plays a role in this. But the people aspect, talent, the word talent, tell me.
Yeah, I think here's how I starting to define talent, and we're starting to look for these things that show up, right? I mean, kind of the sixth man, if you will, grit to me. Like how in a person's history, how often can you see them getting knocked down and getting back up and not quitting, not giving up, right? And that doesn't show up in a resume, because everybody wants to tell you what they've done and how much they've produced and how many awards they've gotten and you know, their pedigree for whatever. And really digging deep and saying, okay, all that's great. Like that shows me success. I see that they're climbing and they're not descending in the things that they're doing. But let's peel that back a little bit more and say, how hard did you have to fight to do that? Right? That's one thing that we look for and we talk about a lot that we never used to talk about. Another thing that we look for is we're a team and we operate as a team. How does that show up in what they do? Like, are they individuals in the things that they do? Do they value teamwork and team concepts? Do they understand what it truly means to be a team player and to realize that in order for me to get what I want, I've got to help the team succeed, and where they can set aside personal checklists for things that they want for the greater good of the team, and truly believe that. So teamwork is something that we really look for. And a lot of these things are culture too, right? And do they fit? Do they have a heart for people? Like, you know, it's another thing you can't see in a resume either. It's and just as a caveat on all this stuff is, of course, we're looking for success. Like, success leaves clues. Like, to me, that's that's the first field you got to check. But I don't think that's really where you dig in and find talent. You have to dig in to who the person is, like at a core level, outside, not work related stuff. Not if they can or cannot perform. That's just we're sifting that originally, right? And so it's those X factors, grit. What else did I say? Teamwork.
Well, you're looking for those clues, right?
Yeah, we're looking for those clues. But grit is the number one thing that I'm looking for right now. because business building is not easy, and relationships are not easy. And I want to be surrounded by people that don't give up and that don't quit,
Yeah.
because especially when you're starting something new, it's like it's door after door after door after door after door that close in your face. And I need to be sure that I'm working with somebody who's willing to keep standing up and to keep walking through those doors.
Yeah. And is there a common thread in what you're saying? Is it people on your team are gritty? Is that a DNA to your team? Is that a part of who y'all are?
Yeah, one of our core values is hungry. I think hungry is something that we could go back to and say, oh, we can tie that back to grit, meaning I'm willing to show up every day because I do want more out of my life. Like, and I know that I have to work to go get it. So finding yourself as a team, you hear all these people say, write down your mission statement, your vision, your values. And I did that for years, man. And I would go and copy people's and like, I understood why it was important, but I didn't really understand because I never did it. And so I think our sales team is at a great place right now because we've gone back and said, well, really, who are we? Like, what do we want? Our mission statement for our team is helping people find home. And that sounds so like silly, but what is home, right? And home is a place where you feel comfortable, where you make memories, where you feel secure and safe, where you can be who you are. And even within our team, it's that's what we want home to be. It's a place where you can be free to make mistakes, to fail forward. You're going to be challenged. We're not going to let you settle because we care about you. And so, like, really defining that for us, I think has helped us evaluate who we want to bring in and who we don't want to bring in. And we're not like batting 1,000 for people that we bring into our world, but we're getting a lot better at really protecting the culture and who we invite into it, around who we know we are. And honestly, we had to look all the way back to Rhonda and me at the beginning and say, who is she? Like, who is she? Because if she's the founder, if she's the reason we were able to initially make these big jumps, like, we want to be more like that and figure out how to scale that in a big way.
Yeah. So I'm going to back up just a little bit and ask you a question. You mentioned, you said, I can get a resume on people and their success, and they're putting all their success on paper and showing it off to me, but I want to know how hard they worked for it, right? So Trey, I'm going to ask you, you're going to finish this year with $2 million in GCI for your organization. How hard did you work for that?
Well, 2 million GCI is the top number, right? And then it goes on down and goes on down.
Yeah, I got that part.
I want everybody to get that part. If you got good people, you got to pay them too, right? It's like they need to earn and have a life worth living too. But so how hard are we working?
No. Your journey, how hard did you have to work for it?
I wouldn't. I remember early on, just like everyone else that's in this and doing it at a high level, never getting time off at all, never being able to like relax your mind and going on vacation and your phone blowing up all the time. And so when I say hard work in this industry, it's more of there's never downtime. There's never downtime. And I made the choice early on that I was going to treat this business like a business. When I got into it, number one, I didn't know the opportunity because I just didn't know the opportunity of it. And it took me from seeing people on stage and reading books and hearing stories about people that built these massive worlds through real estate. And so from early on, I treated this like a business. So I rented an office in the market center. Every day I showed up for work. And I built a calendar. I learned how to follow my calendar. So I guess when you could say hard, I had to become different, like at every step. And I think the hard work is in realizing the things that who you have to become in order to have success. Even with the people on our team today, the people that succeed at a high level are the people that are willing to get in, do the work, to lead generate with a schedule on a regiment, who are willing to sacrifice their freedom as a real estate agent and say, hey, I'm going to treat it like a business, and I'm going to work at stuff consistently. Like, consistency is the main thing. Like, that's the hard part of the job, right? And then managing the relationships on the buy sell stuff and dealing with the highs and lows emotions. It's taxing on your body mentally, and it's you have to keep in your mind and always like refreshing it. Why are you doing this? What do you want out of it? So that's the hard part, in my opinion, Brett. It's not the work. Like, the work is, sometimes it's hard, sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's fun, sometimes it's taxing. But can you do it for a period of time and continue to do it and continue to do it and continue to do it? You know, that's the whole grit factor, right? So it's not like hard like labor. It's mentally hard, and there has to be a level of growth within the person, and that is hard. I read more now than I've ever read in my life. Okay, in high school and college, I was a horrible student around reading, and you know, I read 20 to 25 books a year now. And they're all these self-help books, and my wife is like, how do you read those books? And you know, I read them because I've experienced the growth of it, and then you end up experiencing how that changes your life financially, your emotional self, the relationships around you, the peace that you have in business. And so that's why I do it, and because success leaves clues, and those are the clues for me.
Yeah.
That's kind of rambly, but I don't know if that
You're okay. You're answering the question. Point A to point B is not very, Gary always talks about, it doesn't look like a straight line. It's a messy line going from here to here, right? And you know, I always like to point out, because obviously you're on this interview with me because you're quite successful, Trey, and it's very admirable and inspiring just to hear your story. And I like to just remind people, you know, if I just put you on the call and said, here's a guy doing $2 million a year in GCI, let's go. You forget that there was a journey you took to get there, and there were trials and tribulations and grit and hard work and failed relationships and all the stuff that happened along the way. But it doesn't take away from the pride of getting there and the overall satisfaction that you're actually living out your vision, right? You're helping people create, find home, right?
Yeah. You know, and it goes without saying that you can't do it without people, right? I have so many good people in my life. And I've worked to get them there and worked on those relationships. I had a pretty rough conversation with one of them this week, and like, it's not easy on you mentally. And a lot of people don't build businesses like this because they don't want to deal with people. And the higher I go, or you know, it feels weird saying that, but the higher you go, the more I've realized that people are all that matter, right? And people are the hard part. People are the hard part.
Sure.
And I'm the hard part, right? I'm a person too. So yeah, so I mean, it hasn't been linear. There's been many ups and downs, and many months where we've lost a lot of money, or you know, because you go and invest, and then you got to close the deal to make the money, and that's the grit though. That's the hard part. Am I willing to believe in a plan, and I see the vision that I want? Am I willing to get back up and to alter or run the play again, and believe that it's going to work if I put in the work. And so, this business is unlimited. It's unlimited. It really is. And you have to decide within yourself if you want to become the person that's willing to be learning based and to grow and to and change yourself potentially in order to see the things around you change.
There you go. So I'm gonna ask you some questions I've got on the list. We're gonna just go random here. Are you an old school, traditional, innovative? How do you view yourself in your business?
I had a conversation with a guy yesterday, and I said I used to think I was really entrepreneurial and like risk taker, and the more I get into this, the more I realize, maybe that's who I want to be. I'm becoming more risky, but I think because I'm becoming more sure of myself and the people I have around me. If I'm willing to, say I'm going to invest $100,000 in this, and it may take 6 or 8 months to get a return, but I believe I will. And that doesn't come naturally to me like I thought it would. So I would say I'm more traditional, meaning I want to look at a model and say, here's a proven way to do something. And I'm going to go back to the MREA again, Brad, at that triangle where it says, models and then creativity. And if you flip it upside down and you have creativity first and the models on top, you're not stable. And I've seen that prove out and be true. So I'm more of a traditional business person, I would say.
Gotcha. How do you say, if you're traditional, our industry is moving really fast around innovation right now, whether it's iBuyers or technology disruptors or the way we communicate with people. How do you stay up on the ever-changing environment, but not lose the foundation of your success?
I think that having your finger on the pulse of everything that's going on is vitally important. And I think that there's a couple things that I don't see changing anytime soon is, can I deliver a powerful experience to somebody? And can I surprise and delight them, if you want to listen to Gary Keller's words, or can I, blow their socks off with service and really make them feel like I've earned my commission dollars? And so instead of getting caught up in all of that all the time, I mean, there's things that we're doing differently than we were doing 3 or 4 years ago because of technology, but there's also an increased focus on experience and how can we wow the client and even experience with inside of our businesses too? How can we give our teammates a better experience? And I'm believing that the people element of this business is still going to be here for some time, but you can't do things the way that you've always done them. You better find a way to level up your service and level up your experience, or everybody will become obsolete. Got it.
What's your crystal ball, man? You're in the trench. Where are we going as an industry?
Listen, I think some things are here to stay. I think iBuyers here to stay. I think that they're going to occupy 5 to 15% of the market, just like they have. I also think that the stock market and market caps for these companies, none of them had turned a profit. I read Inman about Open Door this week. They had their best quarter yet with revenue. They still lost $2 million. And so if the stock market were to take a dip back, I think it would help all of us agents out a little bit and maybe take some of the buying power away from these people. But I think that technology is going to continue to put pressure and downward pressure potentially on commissions. But I don't think the real estate agent's going away. I think we better find a way to do more with less, and we better be delivering on experience. And as long as we focus on those things, I think we have some longevity.
Got it. Do what?
What do you think?
No, I think our industry is innovating. We're certainly an innovator's dilemma where everything that's got us here is certainly going to keep us successful in the future, but we got to have our toe in the water over there on as things start to come towards our industry, right?
Right.
What's the best advice? Actually, I'm going to ask this question a different way. Your mom was the founder.
Okay.
What is the value or principle your mother brought to this business that you hold true and close to your heart or high in your organization that's a big part of your success?
I mean, my answers just seem repetitive, but my mom is a servant, right? She's a servant, and it didn't matter if the house was $100,000, $80,000, because there were a lot of those back then, or $500,000. She was going to treat the client with the same respect and urgency that if it was $1 million client. And I think that says a lot about who she is. And, you know, I think work ethic is something for me. I'm willing to outwork the person beside me. She taught me that. And so I think we're partnered with people with high work ethic too. So I would say service, work ethic, and you could say /grit. Those are the things that I want to carry on throughout the business. Because I think those are what develop your reputation. And in this business where you're in neighborhoods and school systems and small groups, it's like reputation is what matters.
Trey, it's been amazing. I'm going to pull a fast one on you. I saw that Melissa was on here, so I'm going to ask Niele if she'll spotlight Melissa for a second. Melissa, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
So I want you, for our listeners, to describe Trey. Like, tell me in a few words or the way you describe it, and be real. Don't overcode it.
Don't sugarcoat it.
Tell us who Trey is.
So Trey is ambitious. He's inspiring. He's hungry. He's gritty. He's a driver, and he's a go-getter.
Yeah. So
that sounded pretty canned, didn't it?
Yeah, of course it
I
did.
wrote it down. So.
Oh, gotcha. But here's my question, and you've been with him for 8 years, 7 years, 7 years. Who have you observed Trey become along the journey? Who is the Trey you started with, and who's the Trey you work with today? You're loving me, Trey, right now. It's good.
I want to hear, actually.
I understand.
Trey I started with was exactly who he had described himself earlier on the call. And it's been awesome to kind of be alongside of him, to watch him flourish into the person that he is today. And what he said is true. He does care about people while he is a driver, and he, wants the results. Like he in the last couple of years has really shifted his focus into helping people get what they want, and focusing on caring about that. And not, of course, results are still important, right? But it's helping get people where they want to be to achieve the stuff that they want out of life. So that's who he is today.
There you go. I'm going to tell you guys goodbye, and incredible gratitude and appreciation for your time today, Trey. Thank you for popping on, Melissa. Y'all are awesome. Have a good one.
Thank you, Brett.
Later.